Hey guys, this is the mind of Lilith, and thank you for joining me today. I wanted to quickly hop on and share my thoughts about some of the comments that I read about Melody on the OWN channel page. And OWN posted a clip of Kimmie and Melody talking about the trip to Atlanta. And Melody was asking Kimmie questions, that some would perceive as her sowing seeds of doubt about Maurice and Marceau's fidelity in their marriage, right? And some of the women were saying that Melody was bitter because she was asking these questions, and that she wanted other people to be miserable like she's miserable. That's what I was reading, and I'm like, that's very interesting, because I don't think Melody is necessarily bitter and trying to sabotage other people's relationships. Melody has definitely been traumatized by Martell. As I talked about on my channel previously, when you're dealing with a narcissist, a real narcissist, not just somebody with, an ego problem. I'm talking about somebody who should have a prescription, for something, for therapy or whatever, even though it doesn't work. But when you have dealt with a real narcissist, it permanently changes you. And I think the women in the comment section, they were not aware of how traumatizing and how painful a relationship with a narcissist is. We learned that Melody has been dealing with Martell's infidelity, or rumors of infidelity, for a long time. But Melody was very young when she married Martell, and she wanted to fight for her relationship. I wouldn't be surprised if Martell put Melody through certain tests for her to prove that she would fight for him, because Martell seems like the type of man who wants women to prove their worth to him and not vice versa. So I said that Martell has this personality disorder because either he was neglected or he was coddled and spoiled, right? When a child is neglected, sometimes they will do anything for attention as they get older, okay? They will go on social media, they will pose naked, they will destroy their bodies, they will enter a bunch of relationships just for the sake of getting more attention. If a child is coddled and spoiled, they do anything to maintain that level of attention from other people. So they'll enter relationships with people that will spoil them, that will coddle them, that won't question them. Martell doesn't like to be questioned, or second guessed. He acts like a spoiled child, but I don't know whether or not he was neglected or he was coddled. But the outcome would be the same in general, wanting a bunch of attention, So, anyway, with Melody was basically, in my opinion, trying to make sure that her friends would not be blindsided by cheating men. I don't think she wants other people to be miserable. Some women, they don't like to be warned about their boyfriends, right? All of us have been here. All of us will give our boyfriends or our husbands the benefit of the doubt if someone were to come along and say, oh, he's cheating or whatever. A lot of us would defend our boyfriends to the very end until we see the proof for ourselves. And so sometimes when a woman or a friend or whatever, somebody outside your relationship says your man is cheating, a lot of us become defensive because we don't want to have our bubble of fantasy bursted, right? And there are some major repercussions for finding out your man is cheating. You can get a divorce, you can break up. It destabilizes your life. So a lot of women prefer to err on the side of caution when they're listening to other people talk about their men, right? So women don't want to destabilize their lives. We like stability. We like consistency. We like things to be predictable to an extent, So when Melody says things like, are you sure you can trust Martell? I don't think she's trying to sabotage anybody's relationship. Melody is not trying to seduce these men, She's not trying to get them caught up, She's not trying to create opportunities for them to cheat. She's just asking questions, So if asking questions is enough to be considered bitter, then that is a real problem, because that is one of the reasons why a lot of Black women get blindsided by their boyfriends, because they don't want to listen to anybody, any suggestions or any advice, nothing. Summer Walker said that she regretted having a baby by London the Track, whatever that guy's name is, okay? London on the Track. Now, before Summer Walker got pregnant, everybody was warning her about London on the Track. They were warning her about his infidelity. He had several baby mothers before he met her, okay? The same thing with Sierra. All of these women get warned by other women. But sometimes women think that they are better than other women. So it can't happen to me. Just because it happened to you doesn't mean it will happen to me. That is something that we have to contend with in our community also, about the need to feel superior to other women to the point where we don't even listen to advice from other women. Not advice from anybody, because there are some women who are haters and who will say things deliberately to get you to break up because they want your man. We got to deal with that issue too. But there are sometimes there's women who have good intentions, who are well-intentioned, who don't want to see you get hurt like they got hurt. And they will warn you, listen, girl, I was as naive as you were, okay? Please pay attention to the red flags. Don't let this man get away with doing to you what he did to me or these other women, okay? But if you remember the SOS song from the 80s, I don't care about those other girls. Just be good to me. I don't care what you do to them. Just be good to me. So these men can go on a scorched earth campaign to destroy the village of women, right? With their infidelity, with their abuse and so on. But some women will say, well, as long as he didn't do it to me, it won't happen to me. And it can't happen to me because there must have been something wrong with you, which is why he did it to you. And then when it happens to them, it's like, oh no, why didn't somebody tell me? I regret. No. The problem we have in our community is that we don't trust each other enough to take sound advice. And we always see someone giving sound advice to us as a threat or jealousy. And sometimes it is because we live in a pick-me village where the men are put on a pedestal. Sometimes that is true. And it's hard to distinguish between the truth and, somebody being a hater, okay? So you have to take a look at your relationship with the person before you say they're bitter or a hater. I don't think Melody is bitter. If she was bitter, I think she would be making more of an effort to destroy these people's relationships. Asking questions is not the same thing as trying to entrap them, right? Melody has good reason to say, listen, Martell is, not the most faithful person. And he's with a bunch of men who have had rumors about infidelity in the past. His mistress admitted to it. Are you sure you can trust him, right? And, some women don't want to hear that. Kimmie doesn't want to hear anything negative about Maurice because she probably wouldn't leave anyway. A lot of women who don't want to hear about infidelity, they probably want to leave anyway, right? So, does a friend let her, homegirl get played? Because there's a track record. Melody is not the type of person to say things just for the sake of saying shit, right? She usually has receipts to back up what she says, or she can justify her logic for what she does. She doesn't seem to be the type of person to move impulsively. Okay, she's very strategic and she's very deliberate with what she does, right? So Melody asking questions, in my opinion, isn't necessarily her trying to be bitter and spreading her misery around. Melody is definitely traumatized. She's traumatized. She's not the same person she was when she met Martell. Anybody who's ever dated a narcissist, and I want you guys to post your comments and your experiences in the comment section, okay? If you've dated a narcissist, I've seen how narcissists destroy the people that they are with. It's not just physical abuse. The physical abuse you can kind of get over because the wounds heal, whatever. It's the psychological, emotional, and spiritual abuse. What I mean by spiritual abuse, a lot of narcissists will get you to do things that are against your moral compass, okay? That's spiritual abuse to me, right? They'll get you to have an abortion, or they'll get you to have threesomes, right? They will brainwash you to look the other way as they molest your children or other people's children. I have seen this happen. I've witnessed this happen. I've read about this happening. There are people who lose their integrity when dealing with narcissists. That's an extreme case, the pedophilia and the incest. But it happens a lot in the church. A lot of women are married to pastors who have issues, who are pedophiles, and they will turn the other cheek to hold onto the relationship, to give the man the benefit of the doubt, knowing he ain't shit, right? Narcissistic abuse is not just about, somebody cheating all the time. That's not it. It is about the person trying to consume your energy, to consume your essence, to turn you into a shell of yourself so that they can feel empowered and enriched. You don't have your own sense of identity when it comes to a narc. You belong to them. You're an object to them. You're a sex toy to them. You're just there to serve a purpose for them, period. Your whole life, your own desires, your own goals, your own aspirations, everything that you do is about serving them. If they can't benefit from what you're doing, they're going to sabotage you. A narcissist wants to implant their brain into your head. So you become like a host for their depravity, okay? The things they want to do to other people, they will get you to do for them, right? Or they will get you to co-sign some of their horrible behavior towards other people. That's extreme cases. I've seen it on both spectrums, okay? Martell, I don't think he's done anything to that extent as far as pedophilia or anything. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is if you're dealing with a narcissist, if you dated a preacher, if you dated a pimp, if you date anybody who has no issue with using you for your energy, for your money, for your resources, and they'll just throw you away like garbage when they're done, you don't know how debilitating and how traumatizing that is. So to say Melody is bitter is not fully accurate. And I can't necessarily blame the audience for not knowing the difference because most of the audience has never dated a true blue narcissist. Okay? Martell is a true blue narcissist in my opinion. Right? We saw the way he spoke to his uncle. It's about respect. Do you know who I am? Trying to shun and silence his uncle as if he's not an elder with a legitimate gripe against what you did. Martell hates being corrected. Narcissists hate being wrong. They hate being corrected. They see themselves as gods, kings, whatever, because they're very insecure. So every time Melody said or did something to correct Martell, he would probably do something to shatter her emotional stability or her mental stability. He would be verbally abusive to her, or he would threaten to cheat. Things would happen. Martell started cheating on Melody behind her back because he despised her. He despised the fact that she was becoming more popular than him. He despised the fact that she was a lot more outgoing. He despised her for the very qualities that he used her for in the very beginning of their relationship. That's how it happens. You can never make these people happy. It doesn't matter what you do for them. Imagine loving somebody and everything you do that they ask you to do, they're still unhappy about it. Imagine being married to somebody who says, I want to start a business with you. And then you go 10 toes down, right? And you help them out with their business so much that they become really successful, right? But then they get mad at you for having the ability to help them in the first place. Okay? Martell would not have married Melody if she didn't have the characteristics and qualities that he ultimately despised her for. Martell always said Melody was outgoing, she was funny, she was charming. He knew this about her from day one. Martell is just a show pony, right? But he knew that Melody would be a great talking head for whatever endeavors that they would get into. She would make them look good, okay? And like I said, he married the perfect woman in a sense. Not to say Melody's perfect. No, nobody's perfect. But Melody had a lot of the qualities that a lot of men look for in a spouse, right? She was loyal to him. She was faithful to him. She believed in his dreams and his visions and his goals. She, ignored the naysayers who said that she shouldn't marry him. She was 10 toes down for him. And she was a hard worker. She's very smart. She took his seeds and grew them into successful businesses in a relatively short amount of time with no financial backing in a sense, right? So that still was an issue for Martell. Martell, like I said, he cratered her self-esteem for a time period, or he did something to her psychologically to make her not trust people anymore. That's a very painful and isolating place to be in, to not be able to trust the people around you because you were married to an abusive narcissist for over 10 years. And that was your first real relationship in a sense. I've seen grown women in their 30s and 40s and 50s go through this and they're shattered. So I don't think Melody's bitter. She's just she's traumatized. She's shell-shocked. She has post-traumatic stress disorder. I've said this before. People say, oh, you shouldn't diagnose anybody. I'm not writing her prescription and telling her to come to my therapy service. I'm not doing that. But me identifying a problem is not diagnosing her. She has symptoms of PTSD, especially after dealing with someone like Martell. We saw what happened to her on camera. This is within a short period of time, right? Melody was married to Martell for 10 years before the show even started. Imagine going through 10 years of what we saw Melody go through in seasons 1 and 2. I was traumatized by it. That's, as a member of the audience. So many content creators and so many of the audience said that they, when they saw Martell, they felt like just ill. They felt tired. They felt sick. They felt annoyed. They felt angry. They felt anxious. They don't like seeing them on the screen, right? Imagine living with someone who makes you feel like that. Imagine living with someone who can make imagine living with someone who can make hundreds of thousands of people feel the way that Martell made us all feel. Melody was living with this man in the same household. Okay? 24/7. Okay? He was using her body like a blow-up doll. Like a sex object. He wanted a bunch of kids so he can feel like the man. A lot of men who want a lot of kids have insecurity issues and they're not taking care of these children 24/7. Because if you have 2 kids and you're really raising them, you're not going to really be like, oh, I want 10 kids or I want 5 kids. That usually happens when men are not 100% hands-on with their children. And I think Martell also wanted children because he wanted a permanent cheering squad, right? Not to say that some men don't love kids, right? Martell, I think, has Jupiter in the 5th house from his moon. Fine. Or the 4th house from his moon. Okay? Not to say that's not the case. However, a lot of times narcissists have children for narcissistic supply. You can't treat their mother like shit and then say, I love my kids. That's impossible. There's something else going on. As the kids get older, they're going to start to see some of the inconsistencies in Martell's actions and his words. Okay? A few months ago, I mentioned in the comment section that a lot of narcissists, they love babies, but they don't like teenagers because teenagers ask questions. Teenagers become defiant, right? And Martell doesn't like defiant. He doesn't like being asked questions. And I think at some point those kids will ask questions about what happened. They'll feel some kind of way. And that is when the split, in my opinion, will occur. I hope this doesn't happen. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that Martell maintains a strong relationship with his children. But as they become teenagers and they become more independent minded and they take their father off that perfect daddy is king pedestal, they're going to start asking more questions about what happened. And then Martell will be offended by it if he doesn't lie outright. So yeah, back to my original point. I don't think Melody is bitter. I want us to stop using that word when it comes to talking about women who are trying to warn other women of certain things. I'll give you guys an example. So some of us have been complaining about the state of the music industry for the past 15, 20 years. But we were called old and haters, okay? We were either called haters or old. People in the industry, the veterans, they were complaining about the lack of talent in the industry, right? And they were called haters and they were called old. In our community, we have an issue with listening to anybody. We have an issue with listening to people who know better, to our elders. And that is why we keep making the same old mistakes, keep dating the same old raggedy men. We keep having babies for men who ain't shit. We keep the same cycles of dysfunction going because we don't want to listen to people who are our elders. Yes, some of our elders are jealous of us, like Miss Wanda, but some elders will tell you, listen, I don't want you to go through what I went through. Please listen to my advice. Don't date this raggedy man, right? Or this music is trash. It's not good for our culture, right? Or drinking and smoking is not good for you either. We need to clean up our culture like Bill Cosby did, and he was castigated for it, right? Or we need to stop being hoes and letting these men use our bodies as blow-up dolls, right? Every time we're told something by somebody with more knowledge, we get mad defensive. Who are you to tell me anything? I can do what I want to do. And then when shit hits the fan, I wish somebody would have told me what it was. And then they want to jump on the bandwagon and complain about the very things that they were warned about 20 years earlier. Like Summer Walker. Like these people who are now seeing, oh yeah, these artists are trash. But they were warned before then. We need to learn how to take heed to warnings, okay? As a community. I'm not just talking about, you guys. I'm talking about myself too, because I've been in similar situations where people give me advice and I'm like, I'll try to learn out for myself. I'll try to learn this for myself the hard way. And it's the hard way, okay? We have to start imparting knowledge and wisdom to the babies in a way that will make them believe us, okay? And we have to start trusting other women more, and we have to stop competing against other women, because like I said, we trust these men who are manipulating us more than the women. Why? Because women worship men, and we think that every woman wants our dusty man if we were to give advice or whatever, right? A lot of women think this. I don't want nobody around my man. Da, da, da. So now we can't even have a village, right? We can't even have a matriarchy, okay? A matriarchy consists of confident, beautiful, loving, nurturing, caring women who trust each other, who love each other, who elevate each other, right? Melody seems like the type of woman who want to see her friends win. Why would she be considered bitter now? Was she bitter when she was helping these people out with their finances and things like that? She's not a hater as a person. You can tell Melody ain't a hater. She may be competitive, but she's not the type of woman who wants you to be down so she can feel better about herself. That's not her. That's not her. From what I've seen. That's why all these women want to be her friend, because she was a good friend to them. So now all of a sudden she's giving you advice and she's bitter now? Come on, man. That's not always the case. Some women have learned from their mistakes and they don't want you to make the same mistake they did because they care about you. It's not always hate and shade and bitterness, right? A lot of us will trust a cheating man, a man who's cheated before we trust a woman who's been cheated on. So you have more faith in your man who cheated on you before than you do in your friend who has been cheated on, right? We trust these men who have a history of being destructive to us more than we trust women. But like I said, there are women like Arion. And so I understand why women would feel this way. I understand why some women would say Melody's bitter, because, there are lots of Arions walking around. A lot of angry, bitter women who want to destroy you because they're angry with themselves. I understand that, but Melody doesn't have a track record of doing that. So again, to call her bitter, I don't think that would be fair, because she's been through a lot. She is traumatized. She's shell-shocked. She has PTSD, right? She is afraid of opening up to another man. I know she is. That is the lasting effect of dealing with a narcissist or being in a narcissistic relationship. It's almost like you're in hell. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, you are in hell, because not only are you upset with the person who did you dirty, you're also upset with yourself for falling for the bullshit, or for, turning the other cheek for the sake of maintaining the relationship. Melody is going through a lot right now. Yes, she's successful in her business, and yes, she's going to recover. It's going to take some time, but like I said, even though she's relieved that Martell isn't gone, the lasting effects of that type of intense, consistent, compounded psychological, emotional, and spiritual abuse, it's going to take a while for her to recover from. That's why I started my channel, right? I didn't start my channel just to say, oh, Melody is perfect. No, but I wanted other women to understand from the point of view of women who've been abused, right? Not just Melody, because Melody's story relates to so many other women, which is why she has so many supporters, okay? From the point of view of someone who's been in a narcissistic relationship or an abusive relationship, some of us react and respond to situations differently based on that. Some of us are not as friendly or as sociable or as warm or as loving as we usually are, because we're trying to heal from something very traumatic. And we need to pay attention to the trauma more than the reactions or responses to the trauma, right? So a lot of women get judged by how they respond to trauma instead of the trauma itself. Oh, girl, you're mean. Oh, girl, you're nasty. Why is she mean? Why is she nasty? Why is she insecure? Why is she so testy? Right? Why is she easily triggered? So many Black women in our community go through this. We see Black women fighting on social media all the time. Stabbing people, fighting people, busting up windows and cars, easily triggered by things because sometimes it becomes too much. So as a community, we should pay more attention to the why something happened versus how a person is coping with what is happening to them. Because the coping gives us insight into the level of trauma and abuse that the person has endured. If someone's an alcoholic, if someone's a sex addict, if someone is self-destructive like Summer Walker, she's very self-destructive. She's pregnant again by another man less than 2 years after she got pregnant by somebody who she said she regrets having a baby for. She's self-destructive. She's mutilating her body. What happened to her to make her like this instead of just judging her off of her destructive behavior, right? Even with Martell, I try to figure out what happened to him to make him like this. It is hard to tell, right? Because we don't see a lot of scenes between him and his mother. And, narcissists are really good at protecting themselves or hiding behind something. We're just finding out stuff now about his family after 4 seasons, right? Melody put it all on the table basically in season 1 and 2. We saw her siblings. Where are Martell's siblings? His aunts, his uncles, his cousins. Not to say they have to be on the show. I'm not saying that at all, but it's interesting that nobody else in his family is like highlighted. Melody had her brother on the show, her sister on the show, and she didn't even grow up with him. She grew up with her mom mainly, but she didn't see her older siblings until she was like a teenager about to go to college, 17, 18 years old. Martell grew up with his siblings in his family. So he's telling his uncle, who's on the TV for the first time, oh yeah, it's about respect. Don't do this here ever on TV. Now, I think that in season 2, Martell did have his uncle's business on the show. I think his uncle was like he made tailor-made suits, and Martell was looking for something to cover up his swole muscles. I think that was what happened. So his family may have been on there, but they're not really an integral part of the cast. Fine. We know more about Miss Wanda's family than Martell's family. That's interesting to me. But yeah, we need to, just to wrap this up, because I know I'm going for too long. We as women, I don't care about what men are doing at this point, because we have to heal the women in our community. And one of the ways that we can heal each other is to listen to each other at some point, right? To respect each other's opinion and not judge other women for the trauma they've endured, okay? This is one of the reasons why I don't want to celebrate Tisha's criminal record or make fun of it in a sense, because a lot of us have done things. Now, I've never been to jail. I've never been arrested. Fine. But that doesn't mean that you're a bad person necessarily because of the mistakes you made in the past. However, Tisha's now being judged by the way that she mistreated Melody. Okay? Because a lot of us women have to go through something similar. We are loving and giving and nurturing and trusting to women who just want to stab us in the back. I've been through this before with friends and family, right? So I get it. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you guys for listening. I look forward to reading your responses. I'm not judging anybody at this point. Like I said, please don't get offended by what I'm saying. I'm not trying to say that you're a bad person by saying that Melody is bitter. I think that is an incorrect judgment to make on her, because she has been through a whole lot, and she could be doing a whole lot worse if she was actually bitter. A bitter woman, in my opinion, would be trying to entrap somebody else's husband, either by setting him up with somebody or trying to catch him. Ooh, I caught you. Melody just asking questions. Sometimes you have to ask questions. Melody is an inquisitive person. This is the personality trait for her, right? She loves asking questions. That's how you become knowledgeable about certain things, right? That's how you become successful in business. Ask questions. Don't just assume things, okay? Do your own investigative work. So that's just her personality, to ask questions. But I don't want us to think that every time one of our friends or family members asks us questions about our partner, they're trying to hate on us. And sometimes our elders have great advice. Sometimes they don't. So you have to use your discernment. All right, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for listening. I'll speak to you soon.